Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I'm so glad you keep coming back. Your support is well appreciated. And if you're new, please do well to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any video that I post. So without further ado, let's get into today's business. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of people do when they get into marriage without knowing that they are setting themselves up for a miserable life. And what is that? What is that thing? That is putting your happiness on your spouse, expecting that your spouse is responsible for your happiness in that marriage. Well, I am I've been married for 12 years, and so I think I have a little bit of experience to talk about this topic. And I'm going to be sharing from my own personal experience, like I said. Um, I'm going to be sharing the mistakes that I made so that you wouldn't have to go through the same thing that I went through. And so that's why I'm going to be very open in this journey with you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes as well, and also share with you the things that I have learned along the line that has made me come to the point where I am, whereby I can say I am truly a happy person. And these were the foolish things that I used to do that I didn't know were robbing me off of the happy life that I am meant to live. And that was when I got married. I was quite young when I married, but well, that is not even an excuse, because even older people are still making the same mistakes, whereby you come into a marriage with the mindset of, once I get married, I would have a happy life, or I'll be very happy for the rest of my life. That is the mistake that a lot of people make without knowing, because number one, marriage is not a license to a happy life. You should bear that in mind. Happiness, like I have said in my previous video, is something that comes from within, not gotten from something that happens to you, or not gotten from something you acquire. And so when you base your happiness off of the point that when you get married, the person, your spouse, whether you're a man or a woman, that your wife or your husband is going to make you happy for the rest of your life, then you're already setting yourself up for a miserable life ahead. Trust me. So when you get into marriage with that kind of mindset, number one, first of all, you're being unfair to that spouse of yours, because he or she can never make you happy. No matter what he does or what she does for you, that can never make you a happy person. Happiness, like I've said earlier, is something that comes from within. It is a state of mind that you have by yourself, irrespective of whatever anyone does for you or to you, or doesn't do for you or to you. And so when you come into marriage and putting that burden on top of the shoulders of your spouse, first of all, you are being unfair to that person. And most times when you come in with that expectations, it now makes you start always wanting to just, at every move of that person, you're counting, is he checking off all my lists? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a list of expectations from your spouse, but when you have those lists, also bear in mind that the person is human, and he or she is bound to make mistakes, just the same way that you are also bound to make mistakes. You are not perfect, we are all humans. And so having the barest expectation I feel a person should come into marriage with is, number one, is he God-fearing, and is he a kind person? Or is she God-fearing, is she a kind person? Does she meet the barest minimum of what I require of a spouse, which is someone who is reasonable? Then once you have clicked on your compatibility quotient, then I think that is okay for you to begin your marriage, but not having this list of expectation from your spouse that when he does this, when she does this, when she does that, then I will have a happy life. Then of course you are already setting yourself up. Okay, so if you judge yourself by the same standard, do you think you'll be able to make yourself happy if you were to be the other person? That is the truth we should tell ourselves. So when I got into marriage, I had this expectation. In my own point of view, I thought that once I get married, my happiness is going to come from this person. He makes me laugh. He and all the good stuff that happen when you're dating. You know, you have that mind that, oh, I'm going to be laughing all the rest of my life. But when you get married, then reality then hits. So then what happens? What about the times when you are not able to crack those jokes all day long? You know, life begins to happen. So what happens then when you're stared in the face with the reality of life? So if you were basing off your happiness off from the reaction of or from the act of your spouse, you'll be taking off balance. You'll be taking off balance, and then you begin to be disappointed. You begin to think that you have you did not make the right decision, sadly so, but not realizing that your expectations of that person to make you happy is just an unrealistic one. Before you get into marriage, you're meant to have the fundamental thing. You're meant to be a whole person. What do I mean by whole? Someone who understands who he or she is. Someone who is already at that point of happiness that I defined in my first video. That is a state of happiness that is derived from the point of satisfaction, not a state of happiness that you define from the point of when I acquire something or when I achieve a goal. So when you get into marriage at that point of stability, you already know that you are not marrying the person to complete you, you're marrying your spouse to complement each other. So if you come in at that point, then you'll have a smooth ride because you are able to rationalize things. You're able to know that this person is as equally as human as I am. We are meant to complement each other. He or she is not meant to make me happy because my happiness is not dependent on whatever he or she does or does not do. And if you come into marriage at that point, trust me, you're going to have a better experience than when you have allowed yourself for years to wallow in that state of unrealistic expectation of your spouse to make you happy. And that was what I did for a long time, up until after so many years into marriage, and I realized I was just making myself miserable. Because if you come to think of it, the truth is your spouse is doing the best he or she can. It's probably because of you. And if you drill it down and you want to tell yourself the truth, you realize that you are being a selfish person to think that someone else is supposed to make me happy. So if you ask yourself the same question, or if you ask your spouse the same question, would he or she say that you are equally making him or her happy? So you see, the table, if you turn around the table, you realize that you yourself cannot make another person happy if the person is not already a happy person from within. And therefore, that is why I thought to share this this little tip for us today, that if you're just coming into marriage or considering getting married, don't come into marriage with the mindset of I am coming to my happily ever after. My spouse is going to make me happy. Now that I'm getting married, oh, I will now be happy all the rest of my life. No, don't come in with that mindset. You need to have already settled the part of you being happy, irrespective of whatever comes your way or doesn't come your way. That way, you're already laying a good foundation for a happy home. And then for those of us who are already in our marriages and we're always putting the burden on our spouses to make us happy, I want to ask that you re-evaluate your expectation of your spouse. First of all, if you have that kind of mindset, you need to sit yourself down and think about and talk to yourself about what you really need to do to improve on how happy you are. And also realize that nobody can make you happy except God. And so it goes back to God. You need to go back to your source. And like I would always say, there's nothing I can say without ascribing the praise and glory to God, because I couldn't have found this happiness on my own or by myself without the help of God. Because without God, I wouldn't have come to the point where I am today. And so the point of satisfaction only comes from God. And you can only go back to God to find this happiness. And once you find this stability in God, that's where you're able to now share with your spouse and your family. And if you're able to come to that point, trust me, things will begin to change. Everything will begin to be better. And you realize that you are just cruising and everything is okay. And so that is why I thought to share today that you shouldn't base off your happiness on anybody. Don't think that someone else is going to make you happy by doing something or not doing something. And I also want to say, stop putting that burden on your spouse. Your spouse is not meant to make you happy. You are meant to find that source of happiness on your own through the help of God. And if you found value in today's video, please do well to subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions to ask regarding what we have just discussed, feel free to share in the comment section below. I know it's a very wide topic of discussion. It's not something that can be exhausted in just a few minutes of a video clip. So feel free to reach out with your questions and comments. Thank you once again for staying with us. See you again in my next video. Thank you.